If I were to make a final answer on explaining what life is, what it means to be a human being, awareness in a body, in this world, what would I say? What would be my final answer if I were to die and go to some place where some entity would say, all right, what have you learned? What is a human being? So the question would be, what are you? And being the meta person that I am, always thinking about the level above the level, my answer would be, you are a question. That is what you are. You are a question that is trying to answer itself. You are a quest, or a puzzle, or a riddle. And what you're looking for is a solution, an answer, right? Dissolution. That's what you're seeking. You're trying to end yourself in the correct way, which hopefully, I guess, would transfer you in the right thing. So I think self-interest, ego, is a question that is trying to answer itself in the hopes of becoming the answer. What time has done and culture has done is change the contents of the question. This move of individualization that we are in is changing the question and making it more like one person specific. I think the idea of you used to be different, right? You is the question. What is you? That is your question. It used to be the tribe was the you, or the family, or the community, something other than just this one person. But because of technology, because the way we are living in abundance, right? The you has become smaller and smaller and more specific. And the whole world is now looking for making this you into the right thing identity-wise, right? Especially with the internet, it's taken a step back and gone from living life to like a 2D projection of what living life is. So this question has become more specific around you as this single person and its role or place in the world and its identity. And I think we've moved away from nature in that regard, right? Nature has a more tendency to have an ego be a bigger thing, right? It's always the group, the animals born into it. It's like completely intertwined. The animal is needed for the pack, and the pack is needed for the animal, and they cannot survive without each other. So there's no question of who am I, right? Being like the beta male in the group isn't like bad, it's just someone needs to take that role, and it's part of the whole thing that constitutes the pack. Now they fight for it because they need the strongest to be the alpha male, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So it's a very honest and fair assessment of who belongs where, and it all falls into its natural place and rhythm. Now we've stepped away from that. Now another way to look at that is to say, you might think, or I might say, you are a question, but I think people walk around hoping they're the answer. So they're not experiencing the question, but they are trying to sell the answer to themselves. They're trying to get their answer validated. So they have a bias. They have this answer in their head which says, this is what I am, this is what I mean, this is what I am meant to do, this is what the universe wants from me, this is what is right, this is what justice is, this is how I should behave or should be treated, or what I should get or receive, or right? That is what you could say. People experience themselves as a hypothesis, a question answer, right? Is this the answer? That's what they're constantly interchanging with the world. They're a belief. They have a belief of what they are, and they're testing it out all of the time. And if it comes back positive, then they can say, okay, well, this is correct. This is who I am or what I am. And then they move on to the next thing, right? The validate and expand cycle that I've described, I don't know, 2 years ago. You're first trying to get validated on some point. You could say that's the point where you leave off from to get expanded. So first you want to get this, is this what I am? Yes, it's what I am. Okay, well then I can move on to the next thing and become more. And that's the game everyone's playing. It's just dropping hypotheses, trying to get stuff confirmed. So they are a question, you is a question, but you live that as posing the answer and seeing what the feedback is, which also means you're completely dependable or dependent on the external, because you are the question and you might pretend you are the answer and you're 100% sure of it, but you're still a question. So you need to have some validation, which the tricky part of the situation is you will never get. There is no one or nothing to validate you. You are a question not because you can be answered, but that's all that you can be. It's a question. And you need to answer it by seeing there is no answer, so to say, so you kind of leave the question alone. But this is what's going on. And if you are seeking information or inspiration or knowledge or insight, you're trying to refine your question, so to say, or maybe you're trying to refine your answer. You're trying to get more stuff in order to build that into this shape that you can say, okay, well now I have a place where I can put forward the answer and see if that's correct. Or you're trying to sell what you already have, right? So you're trying to build or sell. And in the selling, there will be feedback which denies part of what you're trying to sell. So you, the way I like to say it, you like to confirm and conform your logic, right? Because really what you is a logical framework. And it's just constantly tweaking itself through the day and through the weeks and the years as trying to be more refined and more exact and more accurate. And really the point is to get to a point where all the feedback has a place. It fits into what you say that you are, right? There's no negative feedback. There's nothing denying. And it's not denying in the sense that you're saying it's not true. It's denying in the sense that I'm saying it's not true. So you could be saying it's not true, but if I invalidate you or in the logical interaction or in the construct that I hold in my head, I turn it in a certain way that invalidates your invalidation, then it's valid again. So you don't need to agree with me in order for me to agree with me, if you know what I'm saying. So all we're doing all day long is trying to refine this mental construct of what is going on in the world and what we mean. And the fun part of this whole thing is that it's not really going on all day. It's completely incidental. So if you watch TV, you forget about that whole construct and it doesn't exist. And then when it does pop up, it's not like you're overseeing the whole construct from the furthest point. No, you're now zoomed in on this little piece where, I don't know, someone's telling you you're a nice guy, right? Or you're good with some sport or activity, right? Then it's all about that. And you're looking into that and you're trying to make that logical construct just fit really nicely where you feel like this is the answer to who am I? What do I mean? That's what I would say. You are a question that cannot be answered, but that's what you try to do your whole life. Posing answers to see if the feedback tells you you are correct, which there is no feedback that could ever tell you you are correct. So there's never an answer that will satisfy as an answer. And so the question, in a way, is invalid, because a question without an answer is not a question at all. So, yeah, that's what I would say. What do you think? Is my question to you. Let me know if you were to summarize this whole thing. Put it in the comments. What would that be? What would you tell this deity that would summon you after your death and say, tell me now, what is it that's going on? Let me know your answer. I'm curious. I thank you. I will talk to you soon.